Do you see that? Do you see that? Answer me!
Yes, sir.
Are you as insulted as I am? This is what they send against us. This is what they send. This rabble. We hold one of the mightiest cities on the face of the planet. The fury of its gun sends all skyborne enemies to the ground in flames. We stand united in our thousands, our weapons without number, our purity without question, and our hearts beating courage through our blood. And this is how they attack us. Brothers and sisters, a legion of beggars and alien dregs wheezes its way across the plains. Forgive me when the moment comes that they whine and weep against our walls. Forgive me that I must order you to waste ammunition upon their worthless bodies. I have heard many souls speak my name in whispers since I came to Hell's Reach. I ask you now, do you know me?
Yes.
Do you know me?
Yes.
I am Grimaldus of the Black Templars, a brother to the Steel Legions of this defiant world. Never again in life will your actions carry such consequences. Never again will you serve as you serve now. No duty will matter as much, and no glory will taste as true. We are the defenders of Hell's Reach. On this day, we carve our legend in the flesh of every alien we slay. Will you stand with me? Will you stand with me? Sons and daughters of the Imperium, our blood is the blood of heroes and martyrs. The Xenos dare defile our sacred city. They dare tread the sacred soil of our world. We will throw their bodies from these walls when the final day dawns. This is our city. This is our world. Say it! Say it! Cry it out so the bastards in orbit will hear our fury. Our city! Our world!
Our city! Our world!
Run, alien dogs! Come to me! Come to us all! Come die in blood and fire!
Blood and fire!
For the Templars! For the Legion! For Hell's Reach!
For Hell's Reach!
Louder!
For Hell's Reach!
They cannot hear you, brothers!
For Hell's Reach!
Hurl yourselves at these walls in human filth! Die on our blades! I am Grimaldus of the Black Templars, and I will cast your carcasses from these holy walls.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is true. Apparently Xbox can't catch a break. Because we have yet another statement from somebody who is supposed to be a community manager saying that they don't like gamers and that in fact, not only do they not like gamers, but the statement is that they hate gamers. And they say that Asians are quote-unquote white adjacent. Now, of course, the obvious question is, how on earth does anyone like this get hired? Because any person of good conscience and morals and intelligence would take one look at that person, take one look at their Twitter bio, take one look at their Twitter hashtag, take one look at them and what they say and what they believe and say, absolutely not. We live in a civil society. We live in a country where there are lots of different types of people with lots of different backgrounds. And you do not get to divide people within this gaming space. Because you are a guest here in this gaming community. You're clearly not a gamer. You're clearly not in it for the passion of games. You say that you hate gamers. That moment right there, you should have been fired instantly. Because if you are a community manager, if you are working as somebody that is supposed to be a representative of your company to gamers as a whole, these types of words should never come out of your mouth. So Grum says, the community manager at Compulsion Games, the studio that race swapped their main character after Sweet Baby involvement, says she hates gamers and says Asians are white adjacent. Unacceptable. Despicable. We shouldn't tolerate this. Listen, I don't care if she said any race. Why are we dividing people on the basis of race? Why are we allowing the gaming space to be a dumping ground for these evil, terrible ideas? I don't care who says them or for what reason they say them. Gaming has no place for people like this. I'll say it 1,000 times. This sort of left-wing, low IQ, low value, divisive content is not welcome. You are not welcome in gaming. And thankfully, this person is getting lambasted. But the narrative in the media is going to be this poor innocent person is facing undue harassment. No. The gaming community is very good at matching the energy of the person that's saying something. So I could come out and say, I love Final Fantasy VII. And you know what I'm going to get back? Well, probably a lot of Rule 34 of Tifa. But I'm also in my comment section going to get a lot of people who say, I love Final Fantasy VII. If I come out and say, I hate Final Fantasy VII, it's a terrible game, I'm going to get the same sort of energy I put back. These people are the most toxic, bigoted, racist, prejudicial people I've ever seen. And they put this energy out there, and the gaming community has the ability to bounce it right back at them. And they hate that because it's like putting up a mirror. Why would anyone feel comfortable doing this? Well, we know why. Because the culture within the gaming community says you can go and do that. You can go and spew that sort of bigotry. Go ahead. Hey, yeah, go let loose. We got your back. These corporations have their back. The problem is, and this is sort of the same problem with Kotaku and Polygon, you can do this for a while. You can get away with it. If you're a big company, if you're a big studio, you can do it. But eventually it always comes back to you. Your games don't sell as well. Maybe it's not super noticeable at first, but the sales decline. The interest declines. The character that you used to build a flagship for your brand, suddenly it's not culturally relevant. People have moved on. Oh, I know. We're going to bring them back bigger and badder. And you go full feed in. But then there's a bunch of other changes that have crept in that you may not have even noticed that have altered the character and the perception of the minds of the fans. And you have these people out there on social media creating even more division, even more animosity. So the situation gets worse and worse and worse until you're at a point where you have Star Wars, which is on a straight-to-streaming service like Disney+. You have TV shows of Star Wars. They don't even release movies anymore. How embarrassing. Star Wars wasn't just a big blockbuster. It was the big blockbuster. It was the biggest franchise in the world. And these left-wing woke political activists killed it. They killed it quicker than anyone could have thought possible. in 2015. That's not even 10 years ago. In 9 years, Star Wars went from the pinnacle of being a blockbuster to a straight-to-streaming service TV show that people are disinterested in and don't even want more of. Don't think it can't happen to you. It can happen to your franchise. It doesn't matter what your franchise is. If Star Wars can go down, anything can go down. And they have this game, Star Wars Outlaws, or whatever it's called. The interest in that, I've never seen lower interest in a game. It's shocking for a game like a Star Wars game. But that is the ultimate price that you pay. You may get articles written about you from the ever-growing irrelevant games media industry when you hire people like this and you allow them to go and spew this type of filth. But eventually, the consequences do come in and you start firing people. A lot of people. Thousands of people. Have you seen the layoffs in the gaming development and gaming producing spaces? It's a bloodbath out there. It's insane that they're laying off, you'll get a single tweet, 1,800 people laid off at Microsoft. Oh, another tweet, 2,000 people laid off at this one. Oh, another 700 people. They're just cutting them. They're going out of style. And the reason is because these companies are investing so much money. There was a time where wokeness was selling and they thought they could use it. But little did they know that they were taking on dead weight and the talented people have been pushed out now. So now you have a bunch of entitled, low IQ, low value piles of garbage that are classless and clueless and despicable and have these evil ideas and things that they're willing to share. And you don't have anyone talented to make the good content to bring people in. You're hemorrhaging viewership. You're hemorrhaging your audience. And so every time something like this comes out, it is yet another example of the sinking ship. The industry as a whole is taking on water and it cannot sustain itself because the engines have stopped. Now, there's a ship on the horizon as you're sinking, by the way. That is the Japanese gaming industry. And that ship is sailing right along. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did very well. More so than the finances, the game itself is breathtaking. It is beautiful. People are loving it. You have Japanese companies, even Chinese companies, that are making games. And I think that's important to keep in mind. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to take a brief moment. It is Good Friday, so I had to take a phone call. But I appreciate people paying attention to this stuff. I know it's not always the most glamorous and stuff like that, but I do think it's important to keep this stuff in mind. Because this should have no place in the gaming community. Let's, by the way, I want to play this clip from Asmongold. There are some people who ask me, why do you always use Asmongold clips when reacting to this? Well, first of all, because his editor does a pretty good job of, consolidating a lot of stuff and fitting it all in. And plus, Asmongold is one of the biggest content creators in the world. So, yeah, if I can put his face or his name in the thumbnail, in the title, in the description, at him, use a keyword, it's going to put more eyeballs on the actual thing. Yeah, it's for clicks and views, mostly. He's one of the biggest content creators in the world. You'd be crazy not to.
Games. A studio that race swapped their main character after Sweet Baby involvement says she hates gamers and that Asians are white adjacent. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Asian and white, aka white adjacent. I'm happy and proud to announce you joined Compulsion Games as a community manager. Honestly, I hate gamers. South of Midnight. Oh, I watched the trailer for this. Ah, man. I'm Asian and this bitch is racist. Like, see now you know. See now you know how it feels. One thing that I've learned about racists is that every time that a person is racist publicly against one group of people, that just means that they're publicly racist against one group of people. Whenever somebody has like a comment like this is the tip of the racism iceberg. I always wonder with people like this, like do you have problems with other people? Like, are you able to like make friends? Because I assume people that
Okay, so this is actually a good question. Are these people able to make friends? And the answer is no. What they are able to make are convenient temporary allies. And I say convenient and temporary because a lot of the times they are quote unquote friends out of pure convenience and for a short period of time, because almost inevitably one of those people are going to stab the other one in the back to virtue signal. One of them has to try to get the upper ground on the victim hierarchy. So no, these people aren't friends. It's just a constant power dynamic between these two people. So you have a writer's room full of women, and one person has an idea, and one person looks like this, one person looks like one of those people from the, the writer's room of the Crunchyroll show, High Guardian Spice. If you haven't seen what that writer's room looks like, do yourself a favor and go look up that trailer, because that's an absolute treat. But no, they're not friends. They agree like temporarily for convenience. And then they'll stab each other in the back. So, no, and by the way, it is true. They hate more than just one group of people. As this person makes it perfectly clear. They don't like Asians. And this doesn't really have to do... I know this may seem a bit controversial, but it actually doesn't have to do with race. It has more to do with a feeling of inferiority, which a lot of people in this woke movement have. They're not very attractive. They're not very intelligent. They're not charismatic. They're not likable. They're genuinely awful, repulsive people in one way or another, or always. And so they use this as a compensation. Well, white people and Asians who are far more successful than me are terrible people. They're the worst. So you can concoct that with not just race, but also gender, talking about men. Hey, men are, all men are this or that. It's basically anyone that doesn't have your immutable characteristics when you believe this, brain dead filth. This ideology that tells you that, oh, you're a victim and the world is terrible and all this other stuff so that you can feel better. But no, to answer Asmongold's question, they cannot make friends.
Think like this are like dumb. And like, life is hard when you're dumb. It's hard. I know people that act like this in real life. And for the ones that I've grown up with and I know them, I know exactly why they act like this. It's because you can never get along with anybody. You were always annoying. Nobody ever liked you. Bro, this is a kid eating dirt. Now you're doing this. Oh, fuck. I mean, bro, go back to eating dirt. That's be smarter than this. Yeah, obviously this stuff is bad. Why is she so obsessed with race? Probably because she's dumb. That's why. How do people land jobs like that?
This is an oversimplification. Yes, you could say people who are woke are dumb, and that is absolutely true. In fact, I said as much. However, that's not the reason that they say this. There is a multi-varied analysis. And it's not one person going into business for themselves. These are groups of people that have this loosely connected ideology, which is ever shifting because Ironically, it's a very well organized group, but it is individualist in nature. Because your reality, my reality, they can shape reality to be whatever they want in the moment. And if other people in the group don't immediately shift to that reality, then they're another. So that's why you can't really make sense of this. Because we have a bunch of spoiled, entitled, stupid people that don't have any clue and don't have any class that are just regurgitating whatever comes into their head. And that's a problem because, well, reality is reality. There is no your truth and my truth. There is the truth.
Because the people that hire them agree with them. Fucking obviously, right? Is that you get one person in a job that thinks like this, and then they hire other people that think the same way. And
it's more than just one person getting a job. Because if this were like one person getting a job and then hiring somebody else and hiring somebody else, they would have to do this in private. But keep in mind, this person feels comfortable enough, secure enough to go and be that overtly racist on the internet with no fear. She has no compulsions. No compunctions, no compulsions. She doesn't care. No, me personally, I would be mortified to release something like that. Because, well, first of all, because it's despicable. But I know for a fact that I would get canceled immediately. There is a double standard here.
And they think that they have the moral authority to do that because they think they're fighting for what's right. The quickest path to evil is thinking that you're doing good.
Okay, Asman. All right. You did really well, and then you kind of tripped over the end. I understand what you're trying to say, but no. It's not the quickest way to evil is thinking that you're doing good. The quickest way to evil is... how do I phrase this? The quickest way to evil is you thinking the evil that you do is on the path to being good. It's not the good that you do. It's the evil that you do, and you tell yourself that it makes you good. That's the distinction. Because for me, I understand that there is no good of coming from acting like the person in this video. I understand that their attitudes and behaviors are unacceptable and should not be allowed anywhere near gaming. Under any circumstances. No matter who said it, no matter why they said it. Now, as a free person, they can say that all they want. But gamers and society at large should publicly shame and humiliate and exile people who speak that way. And I don't mean that like they can't do it. I mean, as a civil society, we have to have safeguards in order to prevent us from just going into absolute madness. Where you have people working at major companies that a lot of people are employed at, a lot of people shop at, they're making statements to drive people away, to alienate people on the whim of somebody who works there. You know, it's sort of like people of the government, they can't just say whatever they want whenever they want. There are restrictions to free speech within the government. There should be restrictions to free speech if you work for a company that has investors and shareholders. Because keep in mind, this isn't just about one person. There's a game that's supposedly coming out. Do you know how many years it takes to make a game? Do you know how much effort goes into making a game? Hours and hours and hours of team building and marketing. And you got to think about how are we going to make this game look good? What are we going to do? And some community manager comes out and makes a racist statement like that and obliterates millions of dollars of work and years of time. And you don't think that there should be some kind of like rules in place to try to filter that stuff out. I don't know if I would have ever purchased the game based on the main character. Probably not, because, I mean, that's just, that's obnoxious. And I don't usually play games from characters that I know were race swapped or work with Sweet Baby Inc. It just is a matter of personal preference. But the fact is that you have people that put a lot of time into this. And you come out and you create animosity and division. And you hurt all the people that did the modeling for this, did the coloring for this, the lighting, testing, the gameplay. I mean, all of that. All that because your ego is such that you just have to let gamers know that you don't like them. That's why you got to be careful about who you hire. Because if you have somebody who's going to burn your company to the ground based on their own feelings and ego, that's not a person you want. And honestly, these type of people within the gaming community should never feel welcome. They should never feel comfortable being here. At every moment, at every opportunity, they should feel unwelcome. Because what they're saying here, what they're putting out there is division. At the end of the day, it's division. Not the game division. They're making the gaming community divided. I don't think that's particularly good. I don't think that's good at all. And so we should continue to push people like this out of gaming. Because they have no place here. They're not welcome. Anyway, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.